Hey everyone, let me take you back to a classroom. The teacher just explained something. She asked a student a question. So tell me, why did this happen? The student, he knows the answer. You can see it on his face. His eyes light up and he starts speaking. Ma'am, actually, what happened is, uh, because, I mean, basically, and then something strange happens. The sentence collapses. The idea was clear in his head. He knew the answer. But the moment he started speaking, it turned into a cloud of half sentences. The teacher tilts her head. The class looks confused. And the teacher finally says, "What exactly are you trying to say?" And the students sits there thinking something frustrating. It made perfect sense in my head. Why couldn't I say it? Now replace the teacher with your boss. Let us take the same situation and move it from the classroom into a meeting room. Your line manager or your boss asks a question. Rohit, why are our sales declining in the North region? Now you're Rohit, you've been studying the data, you've thought about it, you're actually understanding the issue pretty well. But when you're being asked, what do you think? You start speaking. I think the issue is actually what's happening is the distributors and maybe the pricing and also the retailers. And suddenly you can see it. The whole room looks confused. Your boss leans back slightly. Someone interrupts. The discussion moves on. And once again, you think that painful thought, but it was so clear in my head. What's happening? Clearly, what's happening is the thinking speaking gap. And that's what today's episode is all about. We're going to talk about and understand and know exactly how to bridge this thinking speaking gap. Like I said, what you just heard about has a name. It's called the thinking speaking gap. Inside your head, the ideas feel neat, structured, logical. But the moment you try to speak them, they come out tangled. Why? Because thinking and speaking are two completely different activities. Thinking is very private, but speaking is public. Thinking allows messy exploration, but speaking demands structure. Your brain might understand the idea, but your listener only hears what you're saying, your words. And if those words arrive in the wrong order, the listener gets lost. Here's what's happening inside your brain, the idea exists like a complete picture. Imagine a finished puzzle. All the pieces are connected, you see the whole image. But when you start speaking, you're actually holding those puzzle pieces and handling those puzzle pieces to the listener one by one. If the first few pieces don't make sense, the listener automatically becomes confused. And once someone is confused, it becomes very hard to bring them back. And that is why someone may say, "I know what you're saying, but I'm not following. What are you saying?" There's a fascinating reason why this happens. Psychologists call it the curse of knowledge. Once you understand something very well, it becomes very difficult to remember what it's like not to understand it. But the others don't understand it. Only you understand it. So when you speak, because you understand it so well, you skip the steps. You assume the listener sees or understands what you see. But they don't. That's called the curse of knowledge. You might say the real issue is the distributors. But the listener is thinking, wait, how did we get here? Your brain has already connected the dots. But the listener hasn't even seen the dots yet. You'll often hear this in meetings. Someone says, yes, basically, what's happening is the retailers, the distributors are, but actually, the promotions is what we need to do. By the time the sentence ends, Everyone has forgotten how it began. And the tragedy is this: sometimes the idea inside that messy explanation is actually excellent. You have the best idea in the room, but your delivery, it hides the brilliance. I'm going to share a simple trick which great communicators use to make sure your brilliance shines out. Where? In the next segment. Great communicators do something very simple, and believe you me, the best things in life are simple. Before explaining their idea, great communicators tell the listener where the explanation is going. Think about it as a tour guide. Imagine a guide is saying, "We'll visit three places today: the museum, the palace, and the garden." Now, suddenly your brain relaxes. You know the map. You know we're going there to the museum first, then the palace, and then the garden. The same thing works in communication. Instead of jumping into explanation, you give the listener a map. Say something like, "I think there are two reasons why this is happening." Give reason number one, explain it, then give reason number two, explain it. Now the listener's brain is ready. These are the points he's expecting. When you say the first one, he understands what they are, where they are. When you say the second, they can follow the structure. So, simple technique, straightforward technique, absolute clarity between what you say and what the listener understands. Often, the clearest way to start is with a simple headline. For example, the main problem is distributor incentives. You have defined. Now, the listener understands the destination. We are talking about distributor incentives. And everything you say after that becomes a supporting explanation. But if you start with the background, you start with the details, the side thoughts, your listener spends the whole time trying to guess the destination. And that's where confusion begins. But there's a bigger issue. In professional environments, people often judge your thinking based on your speaking. If your explanation sounds messy, people assume your thinking is messy, even if that's not true. That is why people with same intelligence, two people with the same intelligence can be perceived differently because they speak differently. One explains the ideas clearly, and the other one explains them but in tangled sentences. So the first person appears sharp, the second one uncertain. The difference is not the intelligence, it's the structure. There's a small, tiny habit that fixes this. I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. So, here is that small habit that makes you sound absolutely intelligent, absolutely sharp, and absolutely clear in the head. Before you answer a question in a meeting, just pause for 2 seconds. And in those 2 seconds, ask yourself one question: what is the one sentence that captures my idea? Start there and then explain. That one sentence acts like a headline. It gives your listener a mental hook. And once they understand the headline, they can follow the story. If you're serious about upgrading your communication skills, if you're serious about presenting that genius idea without waiting for your turn, believe you me, if you follow this podcast, you'll see the transformation in you. And also, shortly, I'm going to unveil a masterclass in confidence building. I'll make the announcement here on this podcast. Just send me a message if you're interested. I will send you a heads up before the class. You can also follow me on my Insta handle, which is Communicate 101. But if you're looking for training yourself or your team, you can book a direct call with me on my website, Communicate 101. There's a button which says schedule a call. And that's a simple way to reach me. The next time you say the sentence, "It made sense in my head," remember, your listener cannot hear your thoughts. They can hear your structure. The clearer the structure, the clearer your intelligence appears. If you enjoyed this episode of Communicate 101 Speaking Writing Tips, share it with someone who's finished explaining something and thought, that sounded better in my head. Because the next episode, we're talking about a fascinating communication network, how executives structure their thinking, why leaders speak in headlines and not in paragraphs. Stay tuned because it's loaded. Thank you for listening to this episode of Communicate 101 Speaking Writing Tips with Sarika Singh. If you want to be notified of upcoming episodes, be sure to hit the subscribe button and follow the podcast. I'll be back to share more stories, more life experiences, and more communication tips every Friday. If you want to reach me or connect with me, just put your comments in the comment box below or mail me at info@sarikasingh.in. I know you're going to rate and review this podcast, so a big thank you in advance. Stay tuned and think about what we talked today.